Right, 2 April 2020, and today I want to look at the kind of advice that Nelson Chamisa got yesterday after the Supreme Court ruled that he is no longer the legitimate leader of the MDC and that an extraordinary Congress must be held within 3 months. So the first thing I want to say is that Nelson Chamisa has received a huge amount of support. But among the people that were giving him support, there's also a lot of advice on what he should do next. So it's clear that he won't be able to process all that advice. So some of the advice is good, some of the advice is bad. But it's going to be very difficult for Nelson Chamisa to see all that advice. What he's going to end up seeing is a subset of that advice from his close advisors, people that are close to him. And this is what I want to talk to today. I want to talk to the advice that he's been getting internally and externally. Nelson Chamisa has gotten almost a universally similar message from internal sources and from external sources. Almost all the posts that I saw on Facebook were saying, Nelson Chamisa, you are great, you are amazing, you are the man that should lead the MDC, and you don't need anybody else. That is almost the high level message that everyone was given to Nelson Chamisa. And this came from people that are so close to Chamisa that he's going to get that message. Now, the problem that I see is that many people are focusing internally. They're focusing on the leadership of the MDC. They're not seeing the bigger picture of the elections in 2023. So now we're in 2020. And there is 2 years left to go to the elections. If Nelson Chamisa makes a mistake now, he will not be able to recover in the time for 2023. So I want to run through some of the advice that I saw online quickly of some very key people. Then I want to conclude. I want to look at Tendai Biti. Tendai Biti came out, he was the first person to come out and say that the MDC alliance has got nothing to do with MDC. The court decision is going to be disregarded and they will just continue as if nothing happened. That was the first piece of advice that Nelson Chamisa got. I also saw some very key advisors of Nelson Chamisa, technical advisors. I saw Karenyi Kore. I saw some influential people, some of them who are my friends, people who have online platforms, people like Vuka Zimbabwe, very hardworking young man, Shepherd Yuda, very hardworking also, people that are very close to many people in the community of the MDC. They all said, Nelson Chamisa, disregard those people who you were working with, go it alone, form your own organization. You are great, you are amazing. You are the reason why we all won that election in 2018. No one else helped you. You can do it alone with Tendai Biti and with the people around you. And this is, so normally people would put a list of their preferred leaders. At the same time, there was a lot of insults thrown at Komichi, at Kupe, and all the other leaders that are seen as being on the other side. There was a lot of insults thrown by younger people on social media. What I like is Nelson Chamisa was calm. He did not insert himself into those decisions. I like what Nelson Chamisa does. He gave himself time to think. That is a sign of good leadership. Now, that is internal. Very powerful voices saying, Chamisa, you are great, you are amazing, you can do it alone. That is the internal message. And the other message was, well, with you, if you form your own organization and leave, we'll go with you. That was internal. Now there was external messages. People that are not within the MDC. I want to start with an account called Joyce Mujuru. Joyce Mujuru account said, this is the enemy within, they are getting infiltrated. Similarly, Noah Manyika came out, inserted himself into the discussion, saying this is infiltration, you are better off just ignoring this whole thing and going it alone. Jonathan Moyo was very vocal. He was fighting very, very hard, saying this is not a real judgment, this is a fake judgment. Well, I can go on and on, but the point that I'm trying to make is that everyone is trying to tell Nelson Chamisa that is great. He can do it by himself. He's amazing. He's the chief of elections, of winning elections. That is the message that they are putting out to Nelson Chamisa. Now, I want to show you something about external accounts. External accounts can be controlled by one person, especially on Facebook. And that person could be the person who is not the person they are pretending to be. Let me give you an example of the Mime Juru account. Some time back, in around 2015, 2016, I worked on the communications of Mime Juru. What happened is that some of her Facebook accounts were taken over by certain people, and they refused to hand them the accounts over. The people who were handling communications for Mime Juru at that time were people like Jealous Mawariri. And one of the accounts that we failed to recover was the Joyce Mujuru account. So when you see Mime Juru typing or Joyce Mujuru typing on Facebook, sometimes it's not her. Sometimes it's another person. It's a page with thousands of followers, but it's not hers. Another example. If you look at Zimbo.com Facebook page, my friend Tafi the Man, he had a very popular page with over 33,000 followers. Last month, the page was hacked and he lost control. Someone is posting on that page as Tafi the Man, but it's not him. If we look at Noah Manyika, you don't know who's handling that page. You don't know who's posting there. If you look at Jonathan Moyo, when he's posting, you don't know whose interest he's protecting. So Nelson Chamisa and his followers are getting this huge amount of advice from very influential sources, and they're being told you are great, you are amazing, you are the best thing since sliced bread, and you're going to win the election in 2023 with no one but yourself. That is what I call poor advice. And remember, the difference between me and many people is that I've worked with almost every presidential candidate in Zimbabwe. There is no one in Zimbabwe who has had the experience that I have had with presidential candidates in Zimbabwe. Before 2018, I personally spent hours and hours with at least 10 presidential candidates and know personally each of them and their campaign teams and their internal structures. The only mistake that every presidential candidate in Zimbabwe has ever made is to think that they can do it alone. There is no presidential candidate in the 2018 elections who wanted to work with the other. Nelson Chamisa and Mime Juru, that did not work. Mime Juru and Thokozani Kupe, that did not work. Mime Juru and the other people that came from PDP, that did not work. Nkosana Moyo refused to work within a coalition. Noah Manyika refused to work within a coalition. We can keep going. There is one problem in Zimbabwe. The opposition does not know how to win an election. To win an election, you must be united, there must be one opposition candidate and one ZANU-PF candidate. If you don't do that, you are going to lose. And if you lose, you are not going to change the lives of Zimbabweans. You are going to be an opposition supporter or an opposition leader for a very, very long time. All the great ideas that you've got, you are not going to be able to implement them. This is the problem we have in Zimbabwe. Nelson Chamisa at the moment, he has to unite the whole opposition. That includes working with the people that were in the MDC that has now been presented an opportunity to unite with by the Supreme Court. This Supreme Court ruling is not a bad ruling for the MDC. It is a good ruling for the MDC because it presents an opportunity for Nelson Chamisa to unite everybody who was working with Morgan Tsvangirai before, so that everyone can work towards one election victory in 2023. If Nelson Chamisa manages to unite everyone at this particular point, he's going to win the 2023 elections. But this is the most difficult thing, because that's true leadership. And true leadership means you have to differ with a lot of people. And I don't know if Nelson Chamisa is going to exercise that leadership. Is he going to differ with people close to him, with internal advice, with external advice, some of which is coming from fake sources? Is he going to be able to differ and rise above everybody else and say, this is how I want us to go? Follow me in this direction where we are all united. Because without unity, ZANU-PF is going to win in 2023. So I want to keep emphasizing this point. If the opposition is not united, you cannot beat ZANU-PF. You cannot implement everything you wanted to implement. You have this mediocrity that has been there in Zimbabwean politics. Zimbabwean politics has been so mediocre because it's about personalities. It doesn't have plans, it doesn't have strategies, it doesn't have a culture, it doesn't have structures. These are the things you need to win an election. It's almost like strategy 101. How do you get a sustainable competitive advantage against the people that are coming against you? How do you become the top? You see, this is where we are. Nelson Chamisa, he's got a big choice to make this week. How does he proceed from this point? That will determine if he wins 2023 or not. And everyone is watching. People who know, they're watching him. Right, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be bringing more video today. I've got more people to talk to. If you're watching this on WhatsApp, please send it to as many people as possible. If you're watching this on Facebook and YouTube, please like, comment, and share.